What's up, everyone? Welcome to our 26th Hangout here at Hoops Hobby Hangout. Whether you are joining us now or later, or listening via YouTube, watching via Instagram, listening later on whatever podcast platform, thanks for hanging out. We are here on our YouTube channel, but also if you prefer the Instagram route, we are over at my Instagram, which you can see next to my name is at Sat Kings Cards. Again, my name is Joey. I'm here hanging out with Ryan and Tim and Adam. So, thanks for joining us. How you guys doing? How's everything going this week?
I'm in Florida.
Okay.
I'm in Florida this week, so on vacation. You know, my wife's a teacher like you, Joey. So try to take advantage of this week and going down to see her grandparents and in Boca, and saw some spring training, the Mets.
Nice.
I got some autographs and had a good time, but definitely very sunburned.
You look a little redder than normal.
Yeah, I get redder than most when I'm in a state like this. But you know, having a good time and have a very exciting mail day when I get home. I know things are adding up. So
that's awesome, man. Have fun. So, are you guys like Steve, where you have a week off in February too, President's Day week?
Yeah, we do.
Nice. Dang, maybe I need to find my way over there to the East Coast where I can get an extra week off.
Oh, you guys don't get February break?
That's a shame. No, we don't. We just had a day off. And actually, some places have 4 days for President's Day. They have the Friday and the Monday. I just get the Monday, and then they moved the other day, the Friday, over to a March weekend, and they made it a teacher in service. So I'm not even off. It's just a student free day. So we got gypped there.
That's funny, man.
Sorry, Ryan, you were mentioning.
Yeah, I was talking and I was muted. Got to put some put some money in the cookie jar for that one.
Yeah, I gotta teach you the ways.
Yeah, nothing much for me. No real mail days. I've been picking up some when we were talking about Mad Magazine and we were talking about other collectibles. I've been going after those a bit, so no cards, no fun cards, unfortunately. But I do got some stuff to show tonight for our topic, so that'll be fun.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like my card mail days have slowed down, I guess, in the last month or so. So I don't know if that's a coincidence that it happened to be that way for both of us or what, but maybe there's just not as many great cards out there right now.
Yeah, Adam, I think for me, it's like not collecting the new top stuff.
Right.
So
you don't find yourself wanting to go after much older, like Panini or pre-Panini.
I still am, for sure. Yeah, it's just very picky with that stuff anymore.
Gotcha.
Mostly for team sets, but
now I'm not saying this is Ryan, but I have noticed, and I'm not saying the Topps Chrome is amazing, but I have noticed a couple of big Topps Chromes haters quietly get some Topps Chrome stuffs and post it. Just saying.
That's not going to be me, but yeah.
Not you. I know, Ryan, you're holding strong. Right? There's a couple of our buddies around, the Instagram community who are have ended their, boycott.
Right. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I love it. I love it.
You know what? It's a judgment-free zone where we won't say one way or the other whether what we think.
We say that for that specific topic.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Adam, what do you have? Say what you think.
Well, I think if you talk bad about Topps Chrome and you buy some, you're a hypocrite, but whatever. I haven't had much in the ways of basketball card pickups. I did get one in this week. I have it sitting next to me. It's James Worthy.
Nice.
Ooh. I probably won't end up keeping it because of the clash of color. The emerald foil and the Lakers colors just irritates me, but the patches on it are really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what? The black ink has got to be 16-17 flawless or what?
I think that's right. Yeah, 16-17.
Yeah.
The black ink doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously it's inferior to blue in my opinion, but at the same time, it's on a white surface. It pops. It's not smudged or anything. It works for me.
That's awesome. It's an awesome card. Great card. And on the welcoming for the first time over here, what's up, Dan? Dan is here. Dan's card account from Brewer and the Baker podcast. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Dan.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's cool to have you. But as your subheading suggests, I don't know how much the baseball is going to be. I'm just kidding. Baseball's welcome here too. I collect baseball too, as you know, as you bought me a baseball card for Secret Santa. So I'm happy to see some baseball thoughts.
I happen to absolutely fall in love with Optic Baseball, and I thought with the subject of the show, I would chime in.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. And I think I saw you've been posting, and I think you posted because Brett over at Stacking Slabs did a Optic episode recently, right?
Yes, it was Wednesday.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so I look forward to hearing it. And so I guess that's a good segue to get us started. If anyone else is interested in joining, we have the QR code up at the top right of the screen. Yeah, over near Adam's head. I'll also put the links in both chats, so in the YouTube comments, but also the Instagram comments. And it's as simple as clicking the link or scanning the QR code. There was, we had, I don't think, Dan, any pre-discussion on how to access things. So it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, probably it's easier for you since you do podcasts. So, but it's pretty straightforward.
I just scanned the QR code with my phone and typed it into my laptop.
Nice.
Yeah, simple as that. Awesome. Yeah. So today we're talking about unlicensed cards, and I think that I received a message from Ty on Instagram. I apologize if I'm butchering the pronunciation of his handle, but it's Ty Butars. I don't know. When we elicited feedback on Instagram about, I'm going to share his Instagram page because it's just directly his name. When we elicited feedback on Instagram for what people wanted to discuss and stuff like that, this is his Instagram. There we go.
I got it for you. You got to share it on the stage.
I know. I'm just trying to click so many buttons. So thank you for helping me there.
You're good.
So this is Instagram. And he mentioned that there was specifically, he really hated when people mislabeled licensed cards as unlicensed. And so I think that might be a good place to start, is kind of defining what we mean, I guess, what it means for a card to be unlicensed, but specifically what generally people think of when it's unlicensed. So is anyone familiar with kind of his idea of unlicensed or licensed cards incorrectly being titled as unlicensed?
I assume he's referring to name and likeness, but not team logos, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's kind of what somebody means by saying unlicensed. You're just kind of picking hairs at that point. To me, if somebody said a card was unlicensed and it was how Panini does it, where they still have the player association or whatever branding, but no team logos, it's kind of understood, even though it may be on a technicality incorrect, if that makes sense.
Okay, so when you're saying unlicensed with team logos and stuff like that, what licenses exactly are we talking about? What licenses enable a manufacturer to publish cards or manufacture cards with team logos versus player names and likeness, the way you referenced?
So obviously with the change and the switch over of different companies right now, Panini lost the license to make licensed basketball cards, and Topps now has it, in the sense of the conversation, the way I take it anyway. The team logo, so saying Celtics across the chest of the players, or Kings across the chest of the players, is now only going to be Topps, whereas before, when the Wemby Mercury boxes came out, they could use Wemby's name because they had the exclusive right to Wemby, but couldn't put Spurs across their chest. So they were technically Victor Wembanyama licensed, but weren't Spurs licensed. So I guess to him, as long as they have one or the other, whatever, it counts as still being licensed, and doesn't like the terminology. But to me, it's still, when somebody says unlicensed, I think they get the idea is that it's not going to have the team logos on it, I guess, even though it is player association, where you can use the names and likeness of the players, their images, their names written on the card, not just Kings basketball player. It's De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, Dan, what's up?
In the world of baseball, for years, Panini was able to print the entirety of professional baseball players, because they had, even though they did not have the MLB license, they had the MLB Players Association. So because of that, they were able to print the entirety of Major League Baseball's players. If they appeared, they could appear in their products. They lost that at the end of 2022, and so now they're only able to print prospects and retired players, with the exception of a few people that they have that they have signed specific player contracts, like Bobby Witt, for instance. He still appears on cards in modern new Panini products.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So I didn't realize that most of what they still release now is prospects and retired players.
Prospects and retired players, yeah.
Interesting. So when you say like an exclusive player contract, that means any player can sign with Panini if they're cool with Panini printing their picture and name.
As long as they don't mind getting paid by Panini.
Sounds terrible.
They'll be happy to sign a contract with Panini, but they have to go singly. They can't just carte blanche print anybody. They have to go player by player.
And that's because of that MLBPA license.
That's right.
Okay. Because I was wondering about those Tyson Beck cards, because Tyson Beck prints like those custom cards we were talking about the Jokic cards. I'll pull some up, but we were talking about like the Jokic cards. And I know he's done Curry and Giannis and stuff like that before. I was looking it up earlier today, and I thought I had seen that he did not have a license with the Players Association, but I guess that must mean that individually he's making contracts, or he's signing contracts with these players to get allow him to use their likeness.
That would be my assumption, but I can't speak to that.
Yeah, and you can see there's no logos or anything on any of his cards, but he's got the rights, or probably signs with the player themselves, some contract to be able to use their name.
Right. Of course, it's taking forever to load right now. There you go. Okay, very cool. So does, I guess, a question, and I'll pull up some examples of cards that have neither the player license or the league license, but does it, I guess, make a difference to you guys as collectors, like whether the player license is included? I guess let me show you an example. So one example, MC Basketball PC, he's joined us before and he hangs out with us a lot. He gave us he tagged us in an example, and I think President's Choice is an example of a company that does unlicensed cards where they have neither the player license or the team license, the MLBPA, the NBAPA. And so his card that he shared was this one of this. Well, I guess that has the player face and this is the player face and name. So maybe I'm wrong about that.
There's some gray area stuff, I think. Where it's like, did they actually get the player to sign on to be able to create that card, or did they just buy a jersey and they think that gives them the right to put the name on there? Don't really know. I couldn't say for sure, but I don't see many players like signing contracts with President's Choice, to be honest.
Familiar with modern Leaf products, right? Where they have a whole bunch of, they have like 15 different little pieces of memorabilia on a card, and 4 of them have a picture of the player's face, and the rest of them are just a colored jersey.
Oh,
yeah.
Where they have the player's name and the jersey, but no likeness.
Oh, I didn't know they had that. I didn't realize there were some where some players were shown and some weren't.
Yeah, it'd be like a silhouette of a jersey.
Yeah, there's some really terrible ones with like 8 different jerseys that are just like blank generic jerseys with, napkin pieces or something. Yeah.
Do you mean something like this? Let's see if I can get that on there quick. Something like this guy.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. So I guess now that we've kind of defined the difference, I understand. So these are cards. This is an example of a card where there is no license of even player name and likeness, which is why rather than pictures of these guys, they just put a picture of their jersey with no name on it, a Mike Tyson robe or whatever, stuff like that. That's an example of one?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So I guess where what are your thoughts? I mean,
we could, since we're mainly a basketball channel, and I don't mind going into baseball, I think that would be interesting as well. But given that you're talking about unlicensed, we talked about the Players Association. The first set that was actually Player Association licensed, but not NBA licensed, was 69 Topps. So what they did with that set, since they couldn't have the team logos, is a lot of the cards actually have the jerseys turned around. So you can see this Oscar Robertson right here. He's wearing the jersey backwards, so they could get around that. They couldn't show the actual team name. And if you look at them, they're all just, it kind of reminds me of what Topps did before they had the license, Los Angeles. This one just says Cincinnati, so they couldn't put the team name on it, but they could put the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically like if you have the definition of unlicensed being only Player Association licensed and not fully NBA licensed. That's the first basketball set that had it, because 61. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Paul Silas. Phoenix, yeah, and a lot of them were close-ups like that of just the player's face. But 61 Fleer, and then prior to that, 57 Topps was actually fully licensed. Then Topps didn't get the license back for that season, but they got it from the Players Association, and then the next year, 71 was fully licensed going forward.
So is that the only vintage set? You said it was 69 Topps, where
69, 70 Topps,
just player licensed but not team licensed.
Yep, Player Association licensed.
Player Association.
So they could have player likeness, and they could list Los Angeles. So here's the Jerry West, right? So Los Angeles can show a picture of them. This is just a headshot for those listening on audio, but they couldn't include the team or any team logos or anything like that.
Right. Okay. So I mean, Dan, do you want to kind of share with us, because you said you have really come around to Optic baseball. You want to share with us what it is that appeals to you about it, and how it being unlicensed kind of plays a role in the way you feel about it, or why you collect it, or whatever?
Sure. So I don't think I'm going to be breaking any news here. A lot of folks don't like the unlicensed because it doesn't include the logos, and that's very important for some people. But the way I look at it is, it is the likeness of the player. The year that it's printed in, I know what team they're playing for, and then they'll put the city or whatever. So that can be confusing sometimes with New York or LA, but that's usually not an issue for most teams. Plus, they generally have the right color of the jersey, so that doesn't bother me. It's still the likeness of the player. It's still their autograph, right? I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't bother me as much. I fell in love with Optic because it looks like Panini took Donruss after 1991 and just continued it on as if it had never stopped. That design ethos that it has, it was very nostalgic. That's why I like Optic. That was it. It's a little cheaper because it doesn't have the license, which is nice. I can get an Aaron Judge rookie card. Although still expensive now, it's not near as expensive as a Topps Chrome autograph is from his rookie year. So they're much more affordable in the long run. When it comes to relics and things, it's still their relic. It's still, they wore this uniform. It's still them. It still represents the player on the card as a player, a team collector, even though it doesn't have a logo on it. They played for my team. That is the team's jersey, right? It doesn't bother me as much as other folks does. When Panini lost the MLBPA license, I stopped collecting them, however, because they weren't able to print active players. Mm-hmm. That bothers me. I still pick up some prospect sets, but not near as much as I used to. I hope I answered some questions.
Yeah, and I think, when you showed that Judge, for example, like the photo that they took, and they took it in a way that doesn't make it seem real awkward. A lot of times when they airbrush out the jerseys, it feels like it's, it could be any regular set, right? So I think that's, to me, that I like Unlicensed when they take that extra effort just to hide the logos and whatever, but still make the card look natural, not just some weird Photoshop job where the numbers blown up or something weird like that.
When you take the card singly, it looks great. But when the entire 250 card set or whatever has everybody in kind of a weird pose, it can be a little distracting. I put together the optic set, so I noticed things like that. But for this Judge card, they definitely did do a very good job of picking a shot where they didn't have to. Sorry about my really bad camera, guys.
You're good. All good. We all got terrible cameras.
They didn't have to airbrush anything really. Mm-hmm. They might have had to change maybe the blue on the number into a darker blue, for instance. That's really it. That's all they had to do.
Yeah, and it really, like you said, it could literally be a Topps card. It's just instead of saying New York Yankees, it says New York. That's it. I mean, because the way they've captured him when he's swinging, it's to the back of the jersey, but it's not like it's from behind, so you're seeing the back of his head. Yeah, it's a great job of depicting it in it, like Ryan said, in a way that's not awkward.
Those original, I wouldn't say original, but like the first iterations of Finest and Chrome and stuff that Topps released for basketball. Some of that stuff is just horrible because it was like a lot of Photoshop. It was basically, I'm in a group chat with Steve and a couple other guys, and we were thinking that a lot of the images that they use are just like players where they paste their head onto another player just to make it work. And then they'd have some weird Photoshop stuff. People's arms are all like weird and their jerseys were like not normal for like a human being and stuff like that. So there's a right and a wrong way to do it,
How often are players and basketball cards depicted from the side?
It's
like this Judges.
Yeah, it's probably more than you'd think. And then a lot of times they'll get a shot like down court or somebody's dunking or running away. And, a lot of times that stuff would be easier, in my opinion, to do. Yeah, I can understand it might be tougher than baseball potentially, but I have seen just look at the Tyson Beck stuff where he does NBA players and he finds a way to make just shots look great without showing any branding or anything like that, or even having a need to.
Yeah, and I can back up if you want to reference anything specific.
Yeah, there's a Carmelo. So I bought one of the Carmelo autos that he had. I don't know if you'd be able to find it on there very easily because it was like months ago. But
like these Giannis, I mean, it's just shoulders up.
Yeah, a lot of like close-ups, but yeah, take a look at that Jalen Brunson one. Like that, for example, or there's one of him dunking on that last page. So you can get pretty good action shots without.
They have the Jumpman licensing, apparently.
Yeah, they may be. It's a little extra effort, but it does go a long way. So I'm glad to see Panini, and really Panini's going to have to make unlicensed cards at this point for basketball. So I'm glad to see in baseball they're doing some decent stuff.
Did they already release the unlicensed Donruss? I know they're planning it.
I want to say I saw like an image or two on it.
I think it's in the spring. Well, maybe they might have released images. Yeah.
Yeah, they released images, but I don't remember if they had released the actual cards. Yeah, what's up, Sweat 47 on IG? Yeah, we were talking about those Jokic cards a couple weeks ago, and did you ended up buying one, right, Ryan? Did you buy one of those?
No, I wanted to, and I was in like early enough because I bought from him before, so I got in like the early group. Not that there's like now different groups.
Okay,
I was in like the second early group, apparently, and I had the chance, but I didn't want to spend the funds. Just to be honest, I'm cheap.
They're not cheap. I mean, they're not cheap cards.
Yeah, they basically were going for what you'd probably expect to pay this on the secondary market for a similar type card. It's kind of what I saw. So like an immaculate or something, maybe not a flawless, but like immaculate level stuff, patch auto. What you'd probably pay nowadays in the secondary market for something like that is what he was charging. Which good for him, if he can make some money off of it. Just I've got that stuff, so I'm like not wanting to not overspend, but spend as much as he wanted, I guess. That's the way to put it.
Yeah, Sweat 47 on IG says $1,500 average. Wow, for a card.
Yeah,
one of those cards. Dang,
that's a lot. Right around there.
I want to real quick, Tim. I'm going to ask you real quick what your thoughts are, because I know maybe you may fall on the other side of the spectrum here when it comes to licensed cards. But I want to bring in Mike because he's been with us before. Glenn Rice, 90s cards. What's up, Mike? Welcome back. It's been a while. How you been?
Busy. Basketball season, high school basketball season.
My
daughter is now coming to an end. So yeah, we're having a few extra moments in the evening. But yeah, how you guys doing?
You're good, man. Living the dream, hanging out and talking cards. It's hard to beat it.
I saw the topic and I was like, man, I'm curious how everyone thinks about it.
Yeah, it's interesting your perspective as like a very heavy player collector. So Tim, do you want to share kind of where you're at? Because I think like Ryan and Dan gave a lot of good perspectives on what's great about licensed cards, but you don't feel the same, right?
Yeah, so I definitely respect what both of you guys are saying, and those Tyson Beck cards do look great. But like Ryan and some others out there, I do get frustrated when the photoshopping is so egregious. Like their arms turned into like half the width, or it's just blurring out of logos, and you can just kind of tell it's a crummy job of photoshopping. But others do it better. When I collected baseball, I know that some of the Donruss stuff really did look sharp. Like what was it? Those green Donruss, kind of similar to what the judge you shared. What was that really nice 93 Donruss where they had green borders back in the day for baseball? I remember they redid those recently.
Dominators?
I think so. Yeah, I think those looked great with or without the logos. I still stick to my guns, and I need my logos. For instance, we spoke heavily in the last couple months about the early releases of Topps products before they got the licensing back. And while Topps Chrome had some really ugly photoshopping, I will say some of the designs do look kind of nice if they photoshopped better. But like they had some green and kind of very 90s designs in some of the insert sets, which I appreciated. But I'm a team guy. I collect all NBA teams, but when I'm trying to get a page full of Jerry Stackhouse on every team, I don't really have room for an unlicensed card, at least in the way I do it. So it's I'm very particular about the cards I pick up, and I just not to hate on anyone who does like their unlicensed cards or cards without logos, but for me, I can't do it. I just got to keep searching for cooler cards that have the logos in them. That's just where I stand.
I mean, it makes sense with your collecting, right? I mean, if you're chronicling a player's career through their teams and where they've been in the NBA and stuff, it makes sense that it would kind of be a turnoff for you personally if that isn't depicted. So,
yeah, there's no room on the Dennis Schroeder page, fortunately.
Yeah, you already don't have room, even with all his teams.
Or the Edwin Jackson page, Dan. By the way, Dan, welcome, Dan. I think we spoke a bunch back in the day when I had my baseball card page. I'm also Oak Tree Sports from way back when, but I know we had discussed or messaged a couple times, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, Adam, Mike, you guys haven't kind of shared thoughts. I know, Mike, you just joined. So do you guys have any thoughts kind of where you land? I mean, you may not have whatever. Where are you in this debate?
I personally don't care for many of the unlicensed cards. I mean, there's a few outliers. I did pull out a few things that I've collected over the years, baseball predominantly, but like this was one. It's a Pete Rose patch auto, and it drives me nuts. The hat's like facing you blank, but what made me end up getting it was the patch. It's kind of got a weird window, but underneath it's RED or EDS or something like that. It's the Reds logo.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
It kind of pushed it over the edge for me to accept the logoless hat. But the one set in baseball that I've always liked a lot that's technically unlicensed was one of their first iterations. I think this is 08, where they didn't even bother photoshopping. So the hat still has the C on it, even though it's technically unlicensed. And so like a lot of these, it's another one. A lot of these still show more than they should. And those I can find a workaround for. But most of the stuff like this, it just took like a crazy patch for me to kind of accept it. And also his first patch cards that were actually licensed just came out this year. You didn't even have an option for one until then. Since it's a basketball channel, I did find one basketball card in my PC that is unlicensed. I don't know if I can see it again here.
Oh, very cool.
Hanes Harlem Globetrotter. Doesn't have the Harlem Globetrotter logo or anything on the jersey, just the stars. But it was something unique enough to where you don't find this in a licensed product. So I can make sense of it. But most players have a card that is licensed that you can work around and find. So like Pete Rose was an example where he didn't have anything. Hanes doesn't have anything. So they're just those are scenarios where I find it makes sense to buy one. But otherwise, I would just wait or hold out for one that is licensed in the right combination.
And for Rose, was that because of the ban? Because he was banned? He didn't? Okay.
He just got into like the modern card production, I think in 24, because he had a few autos in Bowman. 23?
No, this year.
Oh.
Because he was reinstated last year. So they're able to print
Are the
him
Bowman
now
cards
this year.
25?
Sorry?
Are the Bowman cards 2025?
Did he have cards in 25?
Well, he has Bowman Chrome
He
autos. I just
did,
want to know if
he
it's
did,
25 or
yes.
24.
He did, yeah. Yeah, you're right, 25.
Dan, what was that card that you were sharing? Oh.
1975, someone got pissed off that Topps was the only game in town. So they created their own set and just didn't care. They didn't have any licensing. They got sued into oblivion. So I've got a George Brett rookie card from 1975.
Nice.
That's unlicensed, but has every logo and the name. The blurb on the back, by the way, written by Keith Olbermann.
Oh, dang.
Wait, all of the SSSP
Yeah,
cards were written by Keith Olbermann.
yeah. The
on the
blurb
back?
on the back. These are all written by.
Every card in the
Keith
set.
Olbermann.
Wow.
Yep.
And I have to say, as a former baseball card collector, I loved SSPC. They had some of the greatest photos, greatest shots. They really provided a lot of variety compared to what you saw in sets back then. And I'm surprised that they were unlicensed. So interesting.
Yeah. No. They just did it. Shoot first, ask question later, kind of a deal.
Mike, what are your thoughts on the licensed and unlicensed cards?
Yeah, similar to what Adam was saying, it depends on the presentation of the card. I'll show an example from 2009 Ultimate Collection, which it clearly states on the back that it is not authorized by Major League Baseball. And they didn't take much effort in photoshopping out logos. And so if I can pull this one up here, if you can see it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the patch is just insane, right? Which is what drew me to the card, and I didn't even realize it was unlicensed because you can see on his hat, it still has the red C, like call it 30% of it on the bottom, which would normally have been photoshopped out, right, airbrushed out during that particular time. But obviously, because the patch is such a great subject matter on that patch. And because the photo used of him is tightly cropped, but also gives a little bit of the Chicago Cub logo on it, then this was a no-brainer for me. But this is Upper Deck unlicensed as well. Another one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, beautiful logo.
Yeah, I mean it's the Cubs uniform doesn't have a ton of character, right? It's pinstripes and. If it's a swatch, that's not going to have a lot of variety to it, but to get the sleeve patch of the Cub face on there was important. Another Sandberg card that I liked that I searched for from 2012 Prism. Here's the black finite from his, and so we know that these cards hold a special place in football and in basketball and baseball. It's much less of a in-demand card, and this one's obviously much more obvious to be airbrushed out. The pinstripes, the red C on the helmet is missing, but to me the design of the card and the black finite pattern makes it an incredibly attractive card from that debut Prism. And last one that I'll share from a Glenn Rice perspective, I remember it was like 1998, I want to say. Vince Carter was all the rage, and so here he is. This is the press pass double threads. So Vince in the North Carolina jersey. On the flip side is Glenn Rice with the Hornets jersey swatch. You can tell there's been some airbrushing, although you can kind of see a little bit of the Hornets. So they strategically placed the wording to kind of cover up a lot of that, what would normally be airbrushed. So I have a place for them in the PC where it makes sense. Not everything is gonna look amazing. Add to the fact that you can get these types of cards at a really good value, compared to licensed items. To me, it makes sense both financially and from an eye appeal standpoint.
I like the press pass. I got a couple. Gallinari is actually from 08. This one's in Italian. He's got an inscription on there. I have no idea what that says, though. But I thought it was cool with the inscription.
I remember the Press Pass 08. Like I would get a couple of Westbrooks from Press Pass back in 08. But because Press Pass, I don't know. I mean, I know there's a difference between unlicensed teams, but Press Pass was licensed for NCAA teams, right?
Yeah, I believe they're collegiate license, which is a lot of times how they got around being able to put the card out, because they put it out when they were a rookie or, soon to be a rookie. And I think that was like a big thing that was happening like in the 90s. Obviously, this Gallinari is like from 08, but it does bring me into a topic about 90s if you want to cover that real quick, because I got quite a few to show from that period. So we'll just start with this Chris Webber. So this is 93. He was supposed to be the number one draft pick.
Could be number one draft pick.
That's just probably not collegiate licensed. That's probably just somebody wanted to print a card and capitalize on the fact that he was going to go number one in the draft. But then you had Classic, which this is actually collegiate license. So this is Alonzo Mourning prior to him getting drafted. And so they pictured him in, this is, the Classics, I think, or Classic. I'm not sure exactly what the brand was called. Classic, I think it was called. But featured him in his college jersey. Same with, let's see, I got another Classic of Eric Montross. They were fully collegiate licensed, but what they would do is they put them out around the draft time. So when they're coming into the NBA, so they could capitalize on them getting drafted. Let's see, I got a couple others here. So this is Gary Trent. This is 95 draft day draft picks. I don't know the brand on this, but these were collegiate licensed products. And I'll throw a photo of this on our edited version because you're not going to be able to see it, but there's a little like load on here, and it does have the collegiate, license little tag there. But Gary Trent, for those of you familiar with Gary Trent Jr., I think he plays in the Bucks now. I think he maybe had a stint on the Raptors, I want to say. This is his dad. And then I got a McDyess, similar type thing. That was like 95 when McDyess was drafted, but you can see this one. This is kind of funny. People think print runs nowadays are crazy. This is an autograph out of 3,000.
Okay, yeah.
It features him in his college jersey.
I think definitely did have some high numbered autographs out of those sets, right?
This one's the Gary Trent one is out of 7,500.
Oh my goodness.
You can see it. So, that'd be their only autograph that came out of that set. But, again, we think numbering nowadays is high. Figured I'd throw that out there because I collected a lot during that time. And I think that was the way they skirted around it,
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because I feel like I wonder how much of the focus of a collector, and I know we have like player collectors here, team collectors here, maybe it's just like general collectors here, because I'm thinking kind of similar to the way Tim thinks. I'm a Kings collector, so I think as I've been seeing all these cards, I think what it does kind of elicits something off for me with the unlicensed cards is if I have a card that says Sacramento on it, it would bug me. I mean, I'm not a Sacramento collector. I'm not a Sacramento sports. Like I'm a Kings collector. And I think Adam, you were emphasizing like the team license specifically it's going to say Kings on it. It's going to say Kings player. It's going to say whatever. So that I think from that perspective would bug me. I think for a side PC, like we're looking at the Giannis cards, I collect Giannis as a side PC a little bit. I don't collect him so heavily that I've investigated or thought about picking up unlicensed cards. I don't think it would bug me for him because I'm just a Giannis fan. I like Giannis. I think he's obviously a great player, but loyal to his team and seems like a very like humble superstar sort of guy. So I'm a fan of his, and that's why I side PC him. And I don't think that would bug me like it would with the Kings player. So it's interesting, Dan. It jumped out at me when you said that you're a team collector and you can get great cards of your team, and then he's on your team, and the jersey is like a Royals jersey and stuff like that. So it's just interesting, and I wonder if there is a difference among like the type of collectors.
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. I don't PC the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. I'm a small market team fan.
Who doesn't?
Right? So it comes with the territory of hate, right? Of hating the Yankees. So. But I have to appreciate greatness when it's staring me in the face. Maybe that's another reason that I like the Judge card that I have so much. It doesn't have a Yankees logo on it.
That's a great point.
Going through my graded box, I found two more that would be, I think, worth mentioning. This early Panini 2013 Pinnacle to Success acetate card. It's a similar photo to the Judge in that it's a side photo. His head is cocked a little bit so that they had to airbrush out the logo on his helmet. It's not a particularly rare card. I just really like acetate cards. So when I pulled that, I had to get it engraded. And this other one I think is really interesting. Good, not great player for Texas. His name is Evan Carter. This is out of Panini Elite. Sure. Elite Extra Edition, excuse me. That's his college uniform, and I don't think they had the rights to the college either. They just airbrushed out all the logos on the college uniform as well. So I don't know where that card falls. But yeah, it doesn't appeal to college collectors. It doesn't appeal to team collectors. The only one that it would appeal to are like player collectors. The only thing it has going for it is the autograph is on card.
It's funny you mentioned Extra Edition. I am religiously against non-logo cards, but as a Stony Brook fan, Stony Brook alumni, there are so few Stony Brook cards out there. There's really only one or two. They're basketball cards for Jameel Warney, but I think those sets are from 2013, 2014 or so, or maybe it extended to many years.
The one I have is from 2020, but
2020,
yeah, they've been doing Elite Extra Edition for a long time.
Well, I think the only logo-less card I own is a Stony Brook Travis Jankowski, and it looks nice because it's all red and Stony Brook is red. So that's one of the only ones I gave a pass, and it's in my collection. I need to have every Stony Brook card I can get my hands on, even if there's no Stony Brook logo. That's the only one of him in the uniform from back then that they ever made.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions for special cases. I mean, Adam showed a bunch, and Tim, you just mentioned one, and Mike, you too. I mean, I think one of the great appeals, like the Cubs card you showed, Mike, it's, I guess, how much cheaper is a card like that when it's unlicensed? So, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to even have this conversation, but if I'm paying $1,000 for that card with a Topps license on it, like, are we talking, like, what are we talking in terms of these really affordable unlicensed cards?
So for that example, again, he has so few high quality, I guess, eye appeal, just patches that are like that. And with that specific card, like, you would not know it's unlicensed by right. Looking at it until you look at the back and read the fine print. So that card, I think would definitely fetch a premium similar to what, call it a, 3-color, Letterman type of a patch would be, like a chunk of a patch of his card. I think there would be very little price discrepancy on that. But his Panini stuff that isn't, that doesn't look like that with that patch, will go for significantly less, right? Call it maybe 25%, of what a Topps, but then again, even that top stuff, it's not necessarily guaranteed to be, game worn, right? There's so much player worn stuff that comes out. He retired in 1997, so it's not like, and over half of his, probably 3/4 of his playing career was in an era in which they weren't switching jerseys every 3 innings, right? And they would wear the same stuff, get them, the equipment manager would wash the same uniform, maybe 3 sets that would have to last them 180 some games on the road, 81 games at home, right? So depending on the player and what's going on, I think it would really depend on that situation. But modern day players, I don't know, it's got to be a fraction of the cost.
I was just going to throw out there too, the particular set that patch comes from is from 09 Ultimate, as he said, is extremely sought after. It's not like a product that anybody looks back on and says, oh, they're unlicensed, I don't want those. It's like an outlier set, because that was almost like their runoff of all their material. So like you have really nice jumbo patches of Clemente in that set. I want to say DiMaggio's in that, Ted Williams. So I mean, like, you're talking about names you're not going to find jumbo patches like that on most cards. So I don't think anybody is ever turning their nose up at that set. It's one of the, from a memorabilia card perspective, one of the sets people chase pretty heavily.
Yeah, that's a great call out. I do see a lot of collectors, trying to chase down, some copies of those, and there are some absolutely stunning patches that came out of that set.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess it's very set specific, because I'm sure I was thinking, are those Tyson Beck cards cheaper than, I mean, if a Jokic from those Tyson Beck cards is averaging $1,500, I mean, that's not necessarily cheaper than, I don't know what you can get a Jokic patch out for, but it's a pretty penny.
Those, it's also Tyson Beck making sure he finds value in his brand. He's not going to see Panini make a card from Immaculate sell for $1,500. He's going to diminish his name by selling it for $300. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you know how they hold up? I don't know if any of you know how they hold up on the secondary market.
I have no idea. I've never really looked too closely at them. First time I probably looked at one more than a glimpse was when he shared the Jokic's maybe a month ago. I would assume resale is probably not unbelievably strong. The value is probably buying it directly from him, and as a collector, just being an end user for the card, not a flipper of the card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of them sold on the secondary market, which is good. He keeps the quantities kind of limited. I think a lot of people that are buying them are just fans of the athletes that he's putting out, and he's building a name for himself. So you never know if it lasts for a while. Maybe 10 years from now, people will still want them, or maybe they'll think they're crap. Who knows? It's kind of unpredictable, But personally, I think his designs are great, and for like an actual unlicensed card, they look pretty nice. I just, like, again, I'm just cheap, so I couldn't justify paying for the Jokic. But do I like the cards? Yes, I think they look pretty nice. It
seems like he's building quite a following, so I feel like he may have that niche that people seek after those cards eventually.
I'm gonna throw out one more thing, Joey, unless you can go first.
No, I was going to ask one question, and that was all that I had on the topic. But you go ahead and throw out what you were thinking first.
Yeah, because I know we covered Leaf briefly, but just some screenshots. But I did show this last time, but I've got another one to go along with it. So this is the Antonio McDyess, all-star patch that I showed in our last episode. But as we were talking about, when you would actually purchase an unlicensed card and be happy with it, something like that for sure. I believe this is from the same jersey. This is a letter patch, D. I think it was the year after, but I'm fairly sure this is probably the same jersey. It's like the same, if you can see on this one right here, you probably can't see it, but down here it's got the the blue, the dark blue. This was 90s era Nuggets jersey. Pretty sure that one was the one that was worn in that All-Star game as well. So for me, going through all those cards from the 90s and stuff like that, I just picked them up because I was a kid. But the stuff that I actually go after, if it has something unique, if it has something I've never seen before, McDyess doesn't have patch cards in Immaculate. I don't think he had barely anything, past Upper Deck days. that's the type of stuff that I'll go after and I'll pursue Leaf. Whereas generally I'm not really looking at Leaf too much. So just figured I'd throw that in there before we close out.
Seems like 9 out of 10 people are going for unlicensed card if there's a beautiful patch.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If it's something unique, it looks nice. It's got a cool patch, something you've never seen before. Maybe you collect, I collect Nuggets, but I also collect McDice pretty heavily as well. It's like, I've never seen a, all-star patch, and that's the only one that's going to be out there because he only wore that one jersey for that one game. He's only all-star once. That's the type of stuff that I'll pursue and try to get because it's just unique.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, again, my head just keeps going back to, okay, well, what if Panini did make a jumbo immaculate patch that had that patch? I mean, that would go for insane amounts. So I don't know if it's similar for the Leaf, but you'd hope that that's the pro, right? Is that it's unlicensed and there's no logo, so you can get it for a couple $100 instead of $1,000 or whatever. But I don't.
So Ryan, are you bummed or relieved that it's that Leaf had that jersey?
Yeah, I guess I'm probably relieved because it was fairly cheap. And Za, hey, thanks for joining, man. He said he has 3 of those lettering cards, so maybe this is in your future. Yeah, I honestly, I don't even remember what I paid for this card, but it was probably nowhere near what a Panini Immaculate or Flawless would have gone for. Fairly sure, it was probably like a quarter of what those go for. So there's pros and cons to it. Maybe totally it's not as desirable down the road, but I'm not selling that stuff really. It's a PC card, so to me, I don't care that it says Leaf. It's maybe not the best design card in the world because again, this one has that. It doesn't even have his photo, right? It just has the jersey with the number 24 on it. But again, the patch makes up for the fact that it doesn't have his picture or anything. I fully, good with the patch on that one. Not having the greatest design,
Yeah, I mean, I love the conundrum because as a patch collector, I don't necessarily buy patch cards because, the reason they appeal to me is because I want that piece of the jersey or the patch that player wore in a game, that player wore in the All-Star game or whatever. So the fact that, that has that, it's the full thing, right? It's not cut up. It's that full All-Star logo or that full D letter, which obviously super rare to find full letter patches that are game used, especially. Yeah, it's obviously awesome. And if you can get it at a lower price, just to not have that Nuggets logo printed on there or even a picture of him. I mean, what you have, to Dan's point, right? You know what you have. So yeah, it's a great. Does anyone have any other thoughts? I feel like, I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts to wrap us up.
All right. No, I think you're right, man.
All right. Well, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I thought that, I've never ventured into the unlicensed. I don't think I have a single unlicensed card. So it's really cool to get all of your perspectives. I don't know, maybe very soon you'll see that change. I don't know, but we will see you all next week. Thank you guys, everyone, for hanging out. Dan, it was really cool to kind of hang out with you for the first time. And Mike, really great seeing you again. And then obviously the rest of the guys, it's great to always hang out every week. So to all of you and everyone that's hanging out, we'll see you guys later. Have a great week and we'll see you next Thursday.
Thanks, everyone.